Hello, my name is Jay Beershank. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today you're joining me for a video. It's going to talk about how I got my mining job in Australia. I've been traveling the world for about 10 years now, working high-paying contract jobs, and this was my most previous one. I worked in mining industry for 6 or 7 months, and I've lived in Australia now for about 9 months. I'm home for Christmas. That's why I'm all bundled up. I'm in the USA, and it's wintertime. In Australia, though, right now it's summertime. It's late December, almost January. Anyway, today I'm going to explain to you the things that I wish I would have known trying to get into that industry, because when I moved to Australia, I didn't know it was a big thing. I didn't know that mining was a good way to make money, and I had to start from scratch and I had to figure it out, but I was able to do it in about a month and a half or two. I was able to get my first mining job, which was very quick. I did not start in hospitality, which many people do. I started as a machine operator, which pays significantly more, and I will now lay out for you basically some of the things I wish I would have known. I'm going to create a school group, which is going to be an online paid group in which I'll help people get jobs like mining, commercial fishing jobs, Davis-Bacon jobs, and any other high-paying contract jobs around the world. So if you're interested in that, you can stay tuned for the next few videos. But if you want a in-depth look into how to get specifically a mining job, you can comment mining below, and I will reach out to you in email. Anyway, the biggest things that I wish I would have known in the beginning is that applying online is the worst way to get these jobs. I think these jobs are so heavily saturated that when you are then applying online, you're just a application getting lost in a sea of applications. I can't tell you how many emails I got back. I'll pop them up, I'll try to find them. Basically where it said, sorry, you're not accepted, sorry, it's not accepted. And I would, do maybe 50 applications a day, and then I'd be waiting a long time, and I would be kind of wasting my time because I'd be waiting to hear back from these companies just to get rejected time after time after time. And I don't think that's because I had a bad resume or anything like that. I just think that it's such a competitive thing with so many resumes, and they're all basically entry-level jobs that you don't need experience on. I think that they're just hiring people on the top of the stack, or however it works. That's one of the biggest things I wish I would have known, because I got discouraged that I wasn't getting hired through these online applications. And I would say anybody who's going to try to go to Australia and get a mining job, don't start with the online applications. The best place I would tell you to start would be to go to bars and pubs and hostels, and also finding people that are native Australians. So wherever you can find them. I got my connection through a host family that I was living with. They weren't a host family, I was paying them. It was my landlords. My landlords ended up having a connection for me, and this got me a job in 1 week compared to a month and a half of sending email after email after email. So put yourself in a position where you're going to meet people that have connections into the mining industry. Because when you live in Perth, which I'd highly recommend, Perth is kind of the mining hub, it's in Western Australia. When you're in Perth, there are so many people who are working in the mining industry that when you go out, you're bound to meet people who can have a connection for you. And once you're in with a phone number, your likelihood of getting a job has gone up exponentially, and it's almost guaranteed. And I can say that with a lot of certainty because I helped a lot of people get jobs, and I saw this happen time and time again. When you have a number for a site manager, or someone that's in any kind of position and in the mines already, you can get a job really quickly. So sending cold email applications is not a great way to get a job. Going out and meeting people and getting phone numbers to people who have connections to get you hired is the absolute best way to get a job, and I can't recommend that enough. Now, there are companies that are better and worse for sending online applications, which I also did not know. I was just sending them to basically the biggest hospitality companies like Sodexo and Civio and these companies. And these are the ones which I think are heavily saturated with applications. So there are better and worse, but even then, if you're going to send your applications, for example, I didn't know about the big companies like BHP, Rio Tinto, Roy Hill. I didn't know about these companies, so I didn't even send online applications, but I'm sure that the same goes for them in the sense of these companies are so heavily saturated. So what I'm trying to get at is, if you're going to send cold applications and you're going to apply for these job openings online, I would highly recommend going for shutdown companies like Oracle, SSS, Link Force, these sorts of companies that work in shutdowns, because these have the most rotational workforce, and they have the most demand for people to come in and take up entry-level jobs, because it's not a career job which you could get with other companies. Like, people are searching for, you know, something more stable that maybe has time off, or, you know, things like this. But when you work in shutdowns, this is a certain type of mining where you're going in for a fixed amount of time on a contract to work on a specific area of the mine while it's being fixed. And this is where I saw nearly everyone getting in on the entry level, and all the foreigners. There are many foreigners in the shutdown industry. So I would recommend this, and this is what I got into, and this is what enabled me to, you know, work for 6-7 months in the industry, and opened up multiple doors. I could have a career in mining if I would have wanted to. I'm not taking that route, but getting in is the most important thing, and the easiest way to get in is through shutdowns, my opinion. Unless you have some kind of, you have a degree, or you have a technical trade, or you have some kind of certification that gives you maybe a one leg up on someone who is just applying for entry level, or so if that's your goal, or that's what you're going at, then there are other ways to do that. But if you're just trying to get your foot in the door, I'd highly recommend shutdowns. And the overall point that I'm making there is there are better companies to send these cold emails to than the big ones, in which most people will initially tell you to talk to. Because everybody that I talked to was saying, oh, you should get into hospitality. And this is like room keeping and cooking on the mine camps, on the mine site camps, because all the mine sites have camps. And I'm honestly very glad I didn't get one of those jobs, because they pay about half of what I made doing machine operation. And it's just, you know, not a job I would have liked to do anyway. I wouldn't have liked to be a housekeeper for 12 hours a day. So those are some of my biggest tips just off the top of my head. Like I said, if you want a more in-depth dive into how I got these jobs, I'll be sending out pretty thought out PDFs. Anybody that comments mining below, you can put mining or also put your email, and I will definitely reach out to you. And stay tuned for future videos. I'm going to talk about not only what I made, the job I did, I'm going to talk about the different certifications I had to get to be able to qualify. There were certain things I had to do, like certain tickets and cards. Like, I'm going to explain that. Also going forward, I'll explain things about commercial fishing, which I've done as well in Alaska. I'll also explain Davis-Bacon. This is a way to work in Alaska where you make an incredible amount of money. It's called Davis-Bacon pay. Also talk about many other things. So if you're interested in high-paying jobs internationally, and also how to travel with that money and invest it long-term, then drop me a subscribe, and I'll keep the videos coming. This is my first one, so if you're subscribed already, then bear with the channel. It's going to kind of change towards me trying to promote this a bit more, but I'll still keep up with the book reviews and the vlogs. So thank you very much if you made it this far. I appreciate you, and take it easy. Merry Christmas.